Hello, my name is Olivia and I'm a life coach. My business name is Lifestyle by Liv, and I help ambitious women to achieve their goals without the overwhelm. I'm primarily online, so I get to work with people all around the world, but I live in Sydney, Australia.
Yeah, thank you, Olivia, for joining with me today. I can see that you are helping lots of youngsters to make their future better. It is important that they also need to build wealth. So you can encourage them to build wealth as well. That will help them to make them financially free in their future.
Yes, I have lots of clients who would love to be financially free, financially abundant, and increase their finance position the best way that's possible. And I guess you help with the potential of doing that through real estate.
You know, in Australia, if we check the history, we can see that every decade the property prices increase almost double. You are living in Landlow, right? What was the price just 10 years ago during 2015? You can see that the property price increased almost double. As you mentioned that you have lots of client youngsters, especially those need to build a habit of saving. Once they start saving, that will help them to buy properties. You know, here in Australia, there are lots, government is supporting for the first home buyers by providing the first home grant. They can get 90 or 95 percentage loan. Government is giving all the opportunities, but we need to utilize it. Then only we can, that will help them to build wealth and create passive income in their future.
What are some of the things to look out for when you are looking to get into the property market? And you're young, we can't hide the fact that we look young. To real estate agents and people. So what's some of the tips of how to
Okay. So the first thing is you need to check your borrowing capacity. If you have any of the clients, anyone, before they get into the market, they need to identify where they are, how much they can borrow. You can approach the bank and check with them, or you can do online, or you can find any mortgage broker. Then we can decide, yes, where you can buy. Then we can think about what to buy.
So say we've checked our borrowing capacity, we know what it is, we've got pre-approval.
Yep.
What would you recommend be the next step from there?
Many people, the problem is once they check the borrowing capacity, many people don't have that much borrowing power, especially if they are single.
Yes.
So many of the people have credit card as well at the young age. So in order to increase their borrowing capacity, again, I'm not a financial advisor, I'm just giving you the general information. So in order to increase your borrowing capacity, you need to have some kind of financial discipline, consistent savings. That is one thing. Another thing, avoid the credit cards. If you have 10,000 or 20,000 credit card, that will impact your borrowing capacity. So you need to just imagine you have 800K borrowing capacity, and if you trying to buy a property in your location, maybe it will not be achievable. So there are a few options. If your parents are supporting you with the help of, you can combine with your mom or dad, buy, that will help you to increase your borrowing power. Then buy property. That is one option.
Yeah.
And another option, just imagine you don't have enough money, enough borrowing capacity to buy your primary house to live. You can think about, instead of waiting, many people, what they're doing is currently they only have 800 borrowing capacity, and if they want to buy a property, they need 1.2 million.
Yeah.
And what they do is 80% of the people, what they do is they will wait to make it 1.2 million, which means they will wait 2-3 years. That is wrong. That is a big mistake people are making. You know what happened? After 3 years, this property price will increase further.
Yeah.
So which means they cannot make it. So just imagine you have 800K. Think about, instead of buying dream home, buying an investment property worth 500 or 600K, which means still you have remaining borrowing power. So that is a smart way to get into the market.
Yeah.
And if you're buying the right, just imagine your client purchased a property for 500K in the right location. In the right location means, when we buy an investment property, we need to consider this as business. Business means we need to identify what are the risk factors in that area, what is the rental income in that area, what are the capital growth. If we need capital growth, there should be some new infrastructure happening, population growth need to be there. So by considering all these factors, when you purchase a property, that will help you to get an average of 8 to 12 percentage growth in a year. Okay, so which means if you purchased a 500k worth property, to buy that 500k property, you only need to put maybe 10 percentage upfront, right? Plus stamp duty, other expenses, it may come another 30 grand something. So which means to buy a 500k property, you are spending 80k or 85k, depends on the area. Okay.
Yeah.
So what will happen if you purchase the right investment property within a year? This 500k property value will increase 10 percentage, which means it will go to 550k if the property is in the right location. Plus, you can expect an average of 20 or 25,000 rental income. Am I correct? So what will happen? You spent to buy the property 80k. In an year, you are getting 50k plus 25k, which means 75k. It is not, you are not getting directly to your pocket, but your asset is growing.
Yeah.
So which means when you purchase the property, the initial investment was 80k. Within a year, indirectly, you gained 75k. This is the calculation people need to think. Just imagine after 10 years, what will happen? This 500k property worth will go to 1 million.
Mm.
Plus, if you're getting average of 25,000 rental income, it will reach another 250k. So most of the people, what they're doing is they are waiting to make their borrowing power 1.2 million, which means they are wasting 2 or 3 years, maybe 3 or 4 years. By the time the property pricing increase, then their project will become a dream. They cannot make it, achieve it.
Mm.
Take action as soon as possible. That is the advice I can tell to your clients.
Yeah. So you want to consider things like risk factors, rental income, capital growth, and it being in the right location.
Mhm.
What are some of the risk factors involved?
Okay, risk factors. In Australia, you know that there are lots of areas, flood, not lots, many places, flood risk is there, a bushfire, cyclone. Those are the environmental hazards. Okay, and when you purchase the property, as I mentioned, we need to consider this as business. So if you're buying a property where the vacancy rate is high, vacancy rate means if you're considering 100 houses, how many houses are vacant? If the vacancy rate is high, means more than 5% or 4%, which means it is hard to find. There are chances of getting the property vacant for certain many months. So that is another risk. What are the crime rate in that area? What are the unemployment rate in that area? What is the population growth in that area? And another important factor, the owners slash renters ratio. Some places owners percentage will be 60% or more. Some places more renters will be there. So we need to identify a place where there is more renters, means more homeowners. If the homeowners percentage is more than 60%, that means that market is stable. And another important factor, you need to identify what are the expenses. Some places the council rate will be high, so you need to identify those things. And before you get into the market, you need to identify the we need to do the building and pest inspection. You need to check any legal issues, complications. So there are lots of factors are there, we need to check one by one. I just created a video about 10 factors you need to consider when you buy an investment property. I'm happy to share that link with you. You can circulate.
Be amazing. And how do you find out the owner to renter ratio?
Okay, there are multiple platforms out there to check all these information. People means to get those information, we need to get the subscriptions. Like there are hotspot report, like hashtag, CoreLogic, Investor. There are lots of applications out there, but in order to get into that, you need to have the access or subscription for that.
Which is something that someone like you, because of your business.
Yeah, exactly.
You've got like the insider information.
Yes, that's right. Finding the right property is not a rocket science. Anyone can do it. But if you have the research skill, market knowledge, time, patience, you can do it. But if you don't have any of these skills, definitely consult with an expert. The thing is, everyone is busy with their job and family commitments. People don't have enough time. And buying a property, it is a long-term, huge financial commitment. If you make mistakes, that will badly impact you for the rest of your life.
And how long would you roughly say it takes from like starting to look to like buying? What's the like general length of time that it takes between looking and buying?
If someone need my service, I would normally say 2 to 3 months. And so far, I managed to close the deal within 45 to 60 days. Yeah, within 2 months, I can find the right property for them.
That's so cool. And then,
Yeah.
like, if someone's doing it on their own, maybe it's a little bit longer.
If someone decided to buy property and they start on searching, they can find properties, but they don't have the confidence to take action. Even if we submit an offer, we need to know lots of information. Like some market, we need to submit the offer more than the market value. Okay. For example, if some places there is huge demand, more buyers will be there. So which means we need to put the offer more than the market value. But some places there will be option to negotiate. So we need to identify the market before you submit the offer. So many people are struggling, like if in the hot market they are trying to negotiate, it will not work. Understanding the market is another important factor before submit the offer.
Definitely see how that would be something important to consider. And it's, I mean, this is so valuable and so incredibly helpful. You just don't know these things. My clients are just, and myself, even like we're going into this, I'm trying to get into the property market. We're at that stage of our lives and we're just, we're naive. We don't understand. We don't know. We, want to trust people, but like it's a whole game.
Always the real estate agent, they are seller's agent. So their goal is to sell the property for the maximum price. That is seller's agents too, no matter what the property is. But buyer's agent, I'm working as a buyer's agent. I'm working for the buyers. What they do is they focus on the buyer's goal, what is their requirement. Buying a property is easy, but buying the right investment property, that we need some kind of skill, data, knowledge, experience, those things.
I've only just put it together that, like, a real estate agent is a seller's agent. That's why what you do is so important, because, like, who is supporting the buyer? The buyer's agent.
That term is not that familiar in Australia. Maybe 60% of the people don't know about the term buyer's agent. But in US, more than 75% of the sales going through buyer's agent.
And there's a competitive market out there because people are like, some real estate agents. I've heard a saying in June, there's talk of like interest rates going down.
The reason that they announced the interest rate cut, which means, but what happened is when the interest rate cut, the people's repayment will reduce and their borrowing capacity will increase. And moreover that, the confidence will increase to get into the market. During 2022 to 24, 23 to 24, we experienced that the interest rate increased 13 times in 15 months time. And during that time, people were scared about their repayment. Everyone was expecting that the real estate market is going to crash down. Because of that, many people were not comfortable to get into the market. But now, when the interest rate cut happened, more people get the confidence. That will drive more people will come to the market. What will happen? Definitely, when more buyers are there, the property price will go up further. So my strong recommendation, if anyone is watching, if you are thinking about to buy investment property or primary house, do not wait long. Take action as soon as possible. That will help you to save certain amount of money.
Because, like, so say the person who their borrowing power was right now it's 800,000. When the interest rates drop, will that person's borrowing capacity increase?
I'm not a financial advisor or mortgage broker, but a certain percentage, maybe 15,000 or I don't know, maybe something, they can get extra borrowing power.
They can, that's how it kind of shifts. Because I've been hearing that from like lots of like real estate agents. They're like, get in now. But that's.
And another important thing, when someone buy property, they need to identify, some places you can see there are lots of new developments happening, like lots of lands availability, lots of multiple story buildings. If you're buying property in that area, you cannot expect capital growth because there are too much supply. That is another important factor you need to consider when you buy property. For example, if there is an apartment 5-story or 10-story, you purchased an apartment in that 5-story or 10-story, what will happen? After 1 year, that developer will build another 25-story apartment close to that. Then if someone want to sell the property, you cannot expect that much growth because supply is there. So that is another important factor you need to consider. And one more thing I just need to add, if someone started searching in internet about investment property or whatever, the next instance onwards, they started getting the advertisements like off the plan apartments, home and land packages. So I'm not saying all these are bad, but 60 to 70% of the plan apartments are not performing well with capital growth.
The apartments.
Apartments are not, I'm not talking about 100%, I'm talking about 60% that we need to consider.
Because it's crazy because, like, the median house price is like,
It is. In Sydney, you know that the median house price is it reached 1.3, 1.4, and by 2030, by within 5 years, it will cross to 2 million. There is not, and many of the people are thinking that the property price is at the peak, it will not go up. That's the people's expectation, but that's not right. The property price will go up further.
and you mentioned you want to consider if the council rates are high.
Yeah.
How do you become aware of what the council rates are?
Okay. The council rate, it depends on the population in that particular area. If you check what is the council rate in your area, maybe it will be like something like less than 2 grand, right? You can check with your parents how much. And, if we check the council rate in Queensland area, many of the places, the population is not that much. So which means many of the places, the council rate is 3 grand or 4 grand. But at the same time, you need to check how much is the council rate, how much is the insurance cost. You need to calculate those as well.
And how do you even say in an apartment, like who decides
that? Council rates you can check with the council. If you're buying a property in particular area, you can call the council and ask to them how much will be the council rates. They can guide you. They can give you the information.
And is the insurance?
Once you get the property address, you can get a quote from an insurance company.
Right, yeah. So that's something that like you do yourself. What about when considering things like strata?
That also depends. Strata is basically for apartments and the townhouse floors. So that also you need to consult with their strata team. You can get strata report. You need to consult with those people. They can provide the information, or you can get this information from the seller's agent. They will provide you the information, and for more details, you can check with the conveyancer or someone. They can help you to get it the right information. You can check with the seller's agent. They can provide you information.
What are the key things that you like prioritize as being important? Because obviously, like when you're wanting to buy something, you want it to have certain features. But what are the important things that you look out for? Because sometimes you've got to make sacrifices. Right.
When we consider property, we need to consider the land size. That is important factor. Land size. Okay. So always the land value appreciate. Just imagine if you're buying a property with land size 600 plus. Maybe after 10 years, there will be option to do the subdivision. So which means you can put a granny flat behind the house. That will help you to second rental income. Or if the house is old, in this 600 square meter land, you can build maybe 4 apartments or 5 apartments or units. That will help you to get multiple 6 or 7 rental income. So we need to consider that as well when you buy property.
Yeah. What about an apartment?
I don't recommend apartments.
So you don't really recommend because, well, obviously, because
just imagine you want to live in Sydney CBD. Okay, there you cannot buy house. So in that case, you can consider apartment. If you're buying something in whatever Blue Mountain or other places, I don't
say like Wentworth Point.
Wentworth
Point.
So ideally, we need to consider instead of apartments, buy property with big land. Even it is old property, big land will be beneficial for your future.
So do you help people who are looking to buy to live? Like
basically, I'm working with the investors. If someone is desperately need to buy help with buying primary house, I'm happy to get them.
You know who you're wanting to work with?
Yeah. Basically, I prefer to work with the investors. The investors. When we buy a primary house, your budget, okay, and work you need to buy, because when you buy primary house, you need to consider your job. If you have kids, their schools, These are the factors we need to consider. So which means there is no confusion about the location, and there is no confusion about what they want to buy. But for investors, it is not like that. We need to go through all the data.
So there's different things to consider. So if I have a client right now who is pre-approved, getting like about to buy an investment property, but doing it on her own and looking for an apartment as opposed to a house or land, would you recommend that the investment is best with?
I need to know more information from about your client, like what is their intention of buying for them, and what is their goal, and what is their current age, what do you do. So by considering all these factors, I can guide them to in the right direction. What they do is, if they have 800K borrowing capacity, they will plan to buy a property for 800 or 750. That's the normal people are doing. That is wrong. So we need to identify where you are, where you want to go. So by considering your goal, your current situation, what you want to achieve, by considering this, we need to set a pathway or strategy, and we need to follow the strategy. Most of the people, they don't have any strategy. That is wrong. Okay, so each individual's financial situation is different. Their goal is different. Their age is different. By considering all these factors, we can set a strategy.
Amazing. And what's the best way for someone to get in contact with you? Like to start.
I can add my phone number in the description, and I'm happy to give your clients free one-to-one session. And I'm conducting free webinars on Monday and Wednesday. Monday, the topic is why 2025 is important in Australian real estate market. That is a topic I'm discussing on Wednesday. So yeah, my recommendation, if anyone is interested in this topic, they can attend my free webinar.
And where can they access your free webinar? Is it on your page?
I can provide you the link in the description. So once they register, they will get the webinar link. So my intention is to give the awareness to the people. If I give the awareness to 100 people, maybe 1 or 2 people need my help. That should be more than enough for me. You know what I mean? And if someone is ready to take action, and that will help them to make their future better.
So that link would be amazing.
I can add this in my description.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for your time, Olivia. I hope this information will be helpful for your clients. I'm really happy to help them. If anyone need free one-to-one session, I can give the link. You can share with them. I'm happy to provide them the pathway that will help them to follow that. Okay.
Please do share that link.
So thank you very much. This is our second video. So next time we can discuss any other topic, and we will go from there. And if any of my subscribers watching this video, I just recommend Olivia. If you need any live coaching service, feel free to contact her. Thank you very much, Olivia. Really appreciate it for your time.
Thanks.